Hello D&D players and tabletop gaming enthusiasts. Today I'm making this video that has 5 tips on how to have a better experience role-playing at the gaming table. And these are things that I personally look for out of players that I firmly believe help them and everyone else at the table involved have a better RP experience while playing D&D or other games. So let's go ahead and get started. You're watching The Dungeon Geek. All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. Right off the bat, here's your disclaimer. I definitely am a flawed DM. I screw up. And so I am giving this advice with a word of caution. And this is just my experience. So if you're looking for a game that's less RP and more slash and kill and loot, then by all means, turn the video off. But if you like roleplay, if you like deep narratives, if you like complex characters to tell your story, continue watching. Maybe these tips will help you out. All right, so tip number 1, make a team player. When you're building a character, make a team player. This is a group game. It's built for group fun. It's a group dynamic. You're at a table or you're on like a Discord channel full of other people to interact with. And in addition to that, the DM has got a bunch of NPCs that you could ever wish for to interact with as too. So there's absolutely no reason to play this lone wolf, like loner adventurer who comes along for the ride but doesn't need anyone else's help, and they just spend their time silently staring out into the silence. It doesn't make any sense. There's no place for it at my table. So here's a word of warning. If you do this, if you create this character, a few things are going to happen, all right? Eventually, the DM and the other players are going to exclude you from roleplay, and you're only going to pop in to say what you're doing when combat comes around or when you're at a store to purchase something, all right? And they're not trying to be mean. They're not trying to exclude you from the game. They're just busy dealing with the game. There's the plot. There's their personal goals. There's their backstories. There's them dealing with the other players. There's them dealing with the NPCs. There's a lot going on, and they just don't have the time. And the DM does not have the time to drag you out of your self-imposed player character agoraphobia. And to be honest, there's a bunch of players looking for a DM to run a game for them. And there's plenty of players out there willing to create characters that are adventurers, that are group players, that are team players. So you really have 2 options, in my opinion, in this situation. You can create this character, but you either have to find a way to narratively describe how uncomfortable the character is while participating in the group experience, or build a new fucking character. All right, tip number 2, take action. Take specific action. Describe what it is that your character does. These are the opportunities that you have to really have the other players at the table get little insights into who your character is and how they act and the little quirks that they possess. Not only that, it helps push the plot forward. I feel like this should be a given. But it's not for some reason. I can't count how many times I've been in a situation to where I've been DMing for a group and there's a huge lull in the action in the story because they can't figure out what it is that they're supposed to do, or they can't decide what they're supposed to do. And they have all of these knowledge skills at their disposal. They're able to search and ask questions to me to figure out what it is that their characters should do. But a lot of the times, characters don't want to take action. I don't know why this is, but please do it. And more specifically, take specific action. If you're going to explore something, describe the way that you explore it. Otherwise, there could be contention among you and the GM. He may have you roll a investigation roll, and he may describe how you touch something and it activates something, and then something negative happens. And then you say, oh, no, I didn't touch that. Well, did you describe how it was you were investigating the thing you wanted to investigate? Because it's the DM's job to explain narratively what's going on in the story. It's your job to explain what's going on with your character, and there is some overlap there. But to avoid problems, take specific action. Move the plot forward. It's real simple, and it's an easy way to RP. All right, speaking of role-playing, let's talk about tip number 3, and that is building a flawed character. From the get-go, maybe you don't know exactly what it is, but plan on having a flawed character and figure out how this character is flawed. And it's okay if over time the character develops flaws or repairs flaws, but have something be wrong with them that dramatically affects the story that's being told at the gaming table. Here's the thing. A lot of players, they don't understand the beauty or the purpose of flaws, and they oftentimes in these situations, they're the type of player that believes that they need to win at D&D. And so this makes them unable or unwilling to basically purposefully roll a low probability roll on something, because they're afraid they're going to fail. And they don't like failing because this is a game where they believe they're supposed to win. Now, I could go on at length about this, but character flaws are great. Right? They push the plot forward in unexpected ways. To use Avengers Infinity War as a reference, when Thanos was being subdued and they almost had the glove off on Titan, Star-Lord got so angry he knocked him back awake and completely shifted the dramatic action into a very negative place. Did they lose? Yeah, temporarily. But that's okay because it's going to make for a better story. Now, this is the same thing in D&D and the same thing in RPG storytelling. Use your flaws to push the story in dramatic ways and trust that the GM is going to roll with the punches and is not going to completely TPK the party because you're playing to your character. It's going to make for a more interesting character. You're going to remember it longer. You're going to enjoy these flawed characters more than your perfect, mechanically built characters. I guarantee it. All right, moving on to step number 4, in keeping with the theme of mechanics of the game. Narrate your actions in a way that spells out mechanically what is happening with your character. And doing this is going to keep you honest, and it's going to speed up gameplay. And I love speeding up gameplay. I love trimming the fat off the game so that more stuff gets done during the session. It's just more fun that way. So I suppose I could say that it's your job as a player, as part of the D&D social contract, that you should be responsible in knowing the limitations of your character, and you should strive to really just play fairly within these limitations out of respect for the game, out of respect for the other players at your table. But instead of kind of griping on that, because it sounds a little negative, let's use an example. All right, let's say a character wanted to reach into their bag on their turn and retrieve a healing potion. They wanted to drink the healing potion, and then they wanted to run up to the closest bad guy, slash them twice with their multi-attack while still holding a shield in their hand. They could say, I do that. Right? Just real cut and dry. This is what I'm doing. Any DM that is paying attention is probably going to start asking a couple of questions. It's going to slow down your turn and slow down gameplay. And there's really no reason for this to continue happening after you've played a few sessions together. You should understand what your character is capable of, how the actions in combat work, and what kind of homebrew rules your DM have. He might say something like, well, are you already wielding your sword and shield? Because if so, then you're going to have to put one away in order to get your potion. And then after that's resolved, he may say, well, as a homebrew rule, we do allow you to drink a potion as part of your movement action as well as retrieving it, but you can't retrieve your sword after putting your sword away and grab a potion and drink it as part of your move action. That's too much, so I'm going to have you use your bonus action. And then maybe you don't have enough action economy to make your full attack because you've used your bonus action to do the other stuff. So now you've completely retracted about how your turn actually went, because now instead of doing what it is that you said you wanted to do, you are drinking a potion, moving, and attacking once. So why? Why did we spend all this time figuring that out? You should know this. Every time it's your turn, it's an opportunity to narrate what your character does or say what your character does in a way that reinforces roleplay. So if you're honest with the limitations of your character's action economy, you could say something like this. I step up with my shield in my hand. I use my free hand to pull a potion of healing out of my belt pouch, and I drink it really quickly. I draw my sword, and using the few moments that I have in between me and this creature reacting, I slice down at him with a single attack. And then maybe next turn you can make 2 attacks, or, combine some more actions. There are a certain number of players that will intentionally try to slide these things by the DM, knowing perfectly well that they don't have the ability to do all of these things during their turn. Some players will even ask the DM if they will temporarily overlook certain rules so that they can gain an extra attack or not lose a bonus to AC or not burn up more of their actions while they're, combining these complex maneuvers. And this is frustrating to me because it shows that they are trying to win at D&D. It's come back to this. If you're sensing a theme here, congratulations, you're catching on. So number 5, before I redline here and get pink in the face, stop trying to win at D&D. I'm going to tell you a secret. My ideal DM-player relationship is not antagonistic. I want my players to succeed. I don't run a competitive game. I want them to overcome impossible odds. Now, this doesn't mean that they're always going to win. It doesn't mean they're always going to succeed. Some of them may fail upon the way. Hell, some of them might die. But the story is going to continue on, and there's always going to be this opportunity that I have in front of them for them to overcome the impossible odds. The higher level your character gets, the higher level the monsters get, and they always scale with each other. There's always going to be something that's just as big or bigger than you that's going to be able to kick your butt. Levels don't really matter. They're just levels of complexity regarding the amount of things that you can do during your turn. If you're unable to have fun as a level 1 character, you're sure as hell not going to be able to have fun as a level 5 character or a level 20 character. So this is why RP is so important. This is why having fun characters to play is so important. This is why describing your actions and living in this game world is so damn rewarding. So you don't need maxed out ability scores. You don't need troves of treasure. You don't need unlimited amounts of magic items in order to play a good D&D game and have the best kind of memorable fun. Be willing to take risks. Be willing to take action. Be willing to throw caution to the wind and play characters that are real. Hopefully you'll have a good time at the table. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these tips. I hope they helped out in some way. Be sure to check out my blog at thedungeongeek.wordpress.com. Be sure to share, like, and push buttons on these videos. It helps out the channel. I'm trying to grow it. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Dungeon Geek.